Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Financial Game Plan with Hannah. I'm your host, Hannah Bursajay, and today I have a wonderful guest with me. His name is Justin Gauthreaux. Justin, can you please tell me who you are, how you got into real estate? Just tell me about yourself.
Hey, Hannah, I appreciate you having me on. It's going to be a great show. All right. So, yeah, I'm Justin Gauthreaux. I'm from Lafayette, Louisiana, born and raised out here. I've been a realtor for the past 8 years, um, and on the traditional real estate, residential real estate side. And I grew up in a family here in Lafayette that was in a restaurant business. And the restaurant started around 1969 and we closed it about 2009 due to the economy slowing down a little bit.
Mhm.
And I worked in the restaurant for, I would say, since I was 21. I could run underneath these tables as I was growing up. You know what I mean?
I'm
And
sure you
so I've
could.
been in there my entire life. And so just to say a little bit more about that, I pretty much just like anyone else, grew up in a family where you go to school, get a job, retire at where you are working at, get a
And hope
30
you have enough
years
money
in.
to retire.
Exactly. And I followed that path and I growing up wanted to be in electronics, something to do with electronics, especially like speakers, amplifiers, home audio. I wanted to learn everything that I could. And I went to a local community college here to learn everything about that. And then whenever I got done with schooling, I was like, where can I go and get paid the highest amount to work in electronics? And around here in Lafayette, as you know, in Louisiana, it's all oil field based. A lot of it was oil
Mhm.
field based. So in 2012, I went into the oil field as an electronics technician. And so whenever I got my first check, let's just say I was making mid 80,000s gross before taxes. And then whenever I get my check, I'm like, what's going on here?
What just happened?
What just happened? Where did 30% of my money go? And so it was the first time I've ever really experienced taxes. And so, I'm a single guy, no kids, not married, and I wouldn't say I was just spending money left and right. I was really conservative on my money and things just still didn't feel right, as far as where's all my money going. And so this kind of just, led my wheels thinking what's going on here. I ran into a guy that worked over there at my shop, and there was something about him that he was just like if he lost his job, it really didn't matter. And he pretty much told me that. And he has a bunch of mobile home rentals. And so it just stuck in my mind. I was just like, well, that sounds interesting. And just it piqued my interest. And yeah, so that right there was one of the first things that caught me with real estate. And whenever our restaurant closed in 2009, we found some tenants. We decided, let's go ahead and rent this out. And they needed some houses to stay in. And so what we did was the houses that we grew up in that are right behind the restaurants, about four or five of them, we went ahead and leased out those homes to the workers that work at the restaurant. So it was just a win-win for all of us.
Mhm.
And right there, that was my first taste of real estate and mailbox money. And I was just like, how can I learn more about this and leverage what we have to be able to get more of this mailbox money? So I'm just like everybody else from going to school, get a good job, exactly what our parents tell us, and and then getting to see that mailbox money was really the biggest transition into
That
trying to create
is
more of this.
so funny that you bring up your childhood. I had a very similar childhood. My dad worked construction jobs, really was in and out, layoff here, there kind of thing. So my mom would handle the money. And I remember the one, they didn't talk about money. I didn't have a clue really what it was. So I was much older. But if you wanted money, you go to work. That's all I knew. And if you wanted more money, you get a better paying job and you go to college for more and more degrees. And I did that. I went to college, got my degrees. I have a career. I'm a school teacher. And if I don't go, they don't pay me. And I'm like, there's got to be a different way. Right as COVID was hitting, my husband and I were Googling ideas, right, on how to create more money. He also works in the chemical fields. And it just seemed like there had to be a better way. And we found a local meetup. And this actually segues into how we met. We went to those local meetups. Actually, I think it was after COVID we met. But I remember you asked if someone was selling a mobile home park. And I remember I was like that day, I was like, oh, I saw one of those on LoopNet. And it's like, oh, saw one on LoopNet. And you told me LoopNet's trash. And I couldn't believe you said that, but I didn't know really what LoopNet was. But it's really crazy how serendipitous it is and how everything kind of moves together. It's money can be made through real estate, and there's so much of it to be made, and there's so many games to play in real estate. Can you tell me more about your mobile home parks, mobile homes?
Yeah, so we have two mobile homes currently right now, and just that's actually one of the ones that we get the least calls on, to be honest with you. It seems like once they're set up, they're ready to go. They cash flow great. The expenses are lower. Your roof, your AC, your flooring, your paint, it's all lower. And the monthly rent that you can get out of them is near what you can get out of a regular house, and have lower expense at the same time. So I'm currently looking for some land to be able to drop a couple more on, whether I
Mhm.
want to rent them out or if I want to sell them out to some owner occupants for them to have some housing opportunity. That's really what I'm looking for next. But yeah, we have two right now that we have currently rented out.
That's awesome. How do you want to scale up in this business? Like go from a few single mobiles to an entire park? Do you want to stay in Lafayette? Do you want to go out? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so I would like to be able to get get a park, or
Mhm.
whether it was in the Lafayette area or nationally. If I was to get outside of Lafayette, I'd probably want to, well, either way, I'd probably want to partner up with somebody
Right.
that has a park, or to be able to provide for funding, help with expenses, some expertise, and yeah, and for land, just to be able to drop one or two mobile homes on, probably looking for about maybe a 45-minute radius around
Yeah.
Lafayette area.
And do
If I'm
you
going to be driving to it, working the project.
I was about to say, do you
I
self-manage these properties?
so yeah, we self-manage these now.
What has been your biggest struggle so far with your current portfolio?
Hmm. I'd say contractors trying to,
Oh, heavens.
getting them out to the project, or returning your calls, trying to get a quote, you know, trying to get them out there just to get quotes on something has been kind of tough.
And it
We
absolutely blows my mind because it's like I'm willing to pay you to do the job. Just come, please show up. I don't understand this whole contractor thing. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, yeah, like willing to give you money here, and they're just not even returning calls to even get a quote. So that's really the biggest thing lately that we've had.
Gotcha. Have you thought about getting your contractor's license and maybe segueing into that?
No, can't say I have, but
No.
I have a couple of rental investors that have done it, but
Uh-huh.
haven't really had a conversation with them about it
Gotcha.
to
Tell me about
explore
your
rental
investors.
investors.
Are you buying these homes outright? Are you working with people? What are you doing there?
Yeah, so my plan is to buy them outright using
Mhm.
my own cash. However, if I can partner up with somebody and we can take something down together, I'd be open to that as well.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Tell me more about your being a real estate agent. How does that take play a part into your investing world as well?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because that leads off to, going from why being in the real estate and thinking, where can I learn more about this? And something else that some people can know, especially realtors, is I thought getting your real estate license was be able to propel you onto the investor side, and it's really a different hat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As soon as I got my real estate license, it sucked me down the realtor path, doing open houses, talking to
Oh,
people about,
yes.
on the retail side, and I still enjoy that. That's majority of my income now, but I'm having to, purposely seek out people that are investors and try to get into their circles to be able to expand my knowledge on the investing side of things for strategies or trying to get off market property opportunities.
Gotcha. So on Facebook, I've seen you play a lot of Kiyosaki's cash flow game. Can you tell me about that? Because I love me some Robert Kiyosaki. I love his cash flow game. His book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, like many people, blew my mind and opened my mind up to mindset. I know when we talked previously, you said mindset's a big part of who you are. Can you tell me about cash flow? Tell me about mindset. I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, great point right there. So, you know, coming from an employee mindset to investor slash entrepreneur mindset, whatever you want to call it, there has to be a shift. There has to be some sort of information that triggers you over to the next side, because when things get tough, you're going to question yourself, why are you doing this? And Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the Rich Dad Game gives you the insight to transition your mind from being an employee to a mindset, and being able to the game actually helps you work calculations on actual deals, on
Hmm.
whether it's stocks, whether it's real estate rentals, and it helps you work a balance sheet with an actual person that has a certain income with debts that the average person would have. And every day you're trying to pay off these expenses while trying to have a positive within your budget, and everybody feels that struggle. And so the cash flow game allows you to interactively buy and sell these stocks and properties, and being able to even incorporate bank debt to be able to buy larger properties that create more cash flow, um, versus using up all of your cash and it being tied up in one property. You can leverage the bank's debt and create cash flow that way with a certain amount of debt. So working the balance sheet, working through the game, you'll be able to actually calculate this out on an actual calculator and be able to see what these numbers come out to, kind of put it into real world practice. But as far as mindset, Rich Dad Poor Dad is the biggest life changer,
It really
book
was a
that
great book.
anyone that can read and actually should read, and it'll catapult you from there.
So how do you incorporate his teachings of the rich dad who didn't have formal schooling but was kicking butt in life, and the poor dad who had tons of degrees and was kind of living the normal life of struggle, kind of not struggling, getting ahead, not getting ahead? How do you incorporate those teachings into your daily life in order to propel you further in your path?
So I guess once you understand the distinctions between the both, a lot of us come from the path or see the path of employee, ride the corporate ladder.
Hmm.
And you can literally almost calculate what you will make at the end of 30 years. And for me, whenever I was riding that ladder in the oil field, it was pretty scary to me because I literally calculated, I think it was a little over $1 million. I'm like, this can't be right. And so let's just say you take that same $1 million and then you use bank financing, and then you get to use the bank's money to create cash flow with properties. You could leverage all of your cash to be able to create cash flow retirement for you whenever you decide to stop working. So Robert Kiyosaki gives you that mindset to be able to transition to earned income, to eventually living off of your passive income.
Isn't it so exciting? I love real estate. I love that you can have cash flow, that you can have debt pay down, that you can have all these tax advantages. I am so passionate about helping people understand their true capabilities. I know that everyone, well, I shouldn't say everyone. I know that so many people believe that go to work, go home, have a beer, go to sleep, wake up and do it again and again and again until you retire. And it just feels like there's so much more to life than to do this. And I love the fact that you talked about bank leveraging or bank financing. I know so many people who are afraid of debt. And I don't think the majority of the people understand that debt can absolutely be your bestie. It can be your friend if you use it in the proper way. Going out to buy a Rolex doesn't really do anything. But if you take that same couple $1,000s and put it towards a property, you can get paid every single month, whether you show up or not. And I think that is it's truly powerful, kind of like what you said with your mindset shift. It's to go from that worker mentality to an entrepreneur mentality. It's I'm trying to think of the word. It empowering is the only thing I can think of because it absolutely can change your life. It absolutely can change your life. What do you think about local meetups? What are your thoughts on those?
Local meetups are amazing. I mean, I'll be honest with you, majority of them are free,
Yeah.
and there's usually there it the information that you'll learn there is priceless. I always say that it is 20% information and 80% networking. You know, because I know people that will go to the meetups, they'll sit there, they'll listen to the topic, and they'll just leave. And
Hmm.
I'll say you only got 20% out of what you were supposed to get out of the meets. And so whenever I'm talking with somebody new, I always tell them, hey, look, you want to get there probably 15, 20 minutes early because it's all about the networking. You want to get there a little early, start meeting the people that are already there, introduce yourself, find, let them know what you're doing, find out what they're doing, see how you can help each other out. And you go through the meeting, same thing at the end. Always stay at the end, at least another 15 to 30 minutes. Be last. And you get contacts, give out your contact. You never know when you're going to need that person. You'll be like, well, I'm not there yet, but when you start going down the path and you have this person's phone number in your contacts, they're already there, and you can make that process a lot more easier for you. So 80% of it is networking, and you never know who you're going to meet or what you're going to learn. That's gonna be a major pivot in your life to get more money in your pocket.
100% contacts equals contracts, and your network is your net worth. I love that you brought up networking. I'm a huge proponent of local meetups just because it's in your backyard. It's not like you're driving 3,000 miles to go to something in Alaska, which if you're from Alaska, awesome, but I'm from South Louisiana. So going to something in Baton Rouge, which is where I met you, is awesome because you can be around people who are just like you, who think just like you. Even like you said, if you're not there yet, maybe you're brand new and you're just trying to figure out if this is an avenue that you can do, you can go and see where other people are. And I think that's a huge, huge key to this business because real estate, I and in the beginning, my husband and I, when we started, we wanted to do this by ourselves. We didn't want to be with anybody, just do it by ourselves. But this is a relationships business. You have to make friends, especially if you're going to grow and scale. We're looking at buying bigger complexes. I have my small 11-door apartment complex, but I'm looking to do something significantly larger. I want hundreds of units. Eventually, I'd like hundreds of thousands of units. And you can't do that by yourself. No one can. None of the big dogs do this by themselves. And I really, really like that you brought that point up. Another question I have is going with the local meetups. How do you feel about going to national conferences? I love to go to conferences all around the country. I want to hear other people's perspectives. I tend to get a little laser focused on certain, I'm gonna call them gurus, Grant Cardone, Michael Blanc, pick your name, pick whomever, Brad Sumrock. I tend to get a little too focused on one and I like to stick to doing what it exactly do. But when I travel out to other conferences, I can see other perspectives. Are you a fan of conferences?
To be honest, trying to think, I don't think I've actually been to any of them outside of Louisiana yet.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Dude.
I
Okay.
know.
So you need to start going to some
There,
conferences.
There was one meetup that I went to with George Gammon, which
Okay.
he is on Robert Kiyosaki's team, but it
Hmm.
was literally this underground meet in Texas. He was doing some type of he was doing like a RV travel, but couldn't get the RV. So him and his team just took the truck and hit all their spots from
I love
Dallas,
that.
Austin,
I love
Houston.
that.
Yeah, it was a meetup under a pavilion at 10 o'clock at night with no lights. And it was just
That
all
sounds a
us
little
talking about
sketchy.
it was sketchy, but it was all people with freedom. So freedom and money. And I can tell you, probably didn't want to roll up on this group, but no, I'm just joking. But yeah, no. So that was a meet that I went to, within the Robert Kiyosaki
Hmm.
team. But other than that, no, I haven't been to any outside
That's
conferences, but
crazy.
I'd be interested to go on, check them
You
out.
need to start looking into that. My absolute favorite was the best ever conference they had in Salt Lake City in March. We've already bought tickets for next April. That is one. If you ever want to go like big time apartment investing, you need to look that one up. All right, Justin. So let's talk about you a little bit more. Our show is coming to an end, and I want to ask my guests three questions. I feel like a lot of podcasts ask very similar book recommendations, your favorite quotes, but I feel like I want to know you on a little bit of a different level. So, my first question for you is, what is one thing on your bucket list that you would like to accomplish within, say, the next year? And it could be anything, travel, whatever.
Mm, I'd like to flip three to five mobile home projects.
Oh, I like that. So 3 to 5 flips. That's your
Yeah,
bucket
whether
list
in a
within the next
park
year.
or on some land. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So question number two, what is a skill that you have always wanted to learn?
Hmm. Being more an expert of body language.
Oh, I like that. That would really help you. Again, this is a relationship business. So yeah, learning body language, being able to read people, that's a great one. All right, you ready for the last question? If you could have a conversation with your 18-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself?
I'd have to say take a little more risk and feel like you don't have to know everything from A to Z
Hmm.
because that can prevent you from actually beginning and just failing and learning along the way. Failing and learning along the way is the quickest way to learn anything.
It's important to fail. People are afraid of failing. I like that. Your answer is definitely better than mine. I would tell myself to stop doing stupid shit. So I like yours a lot better. All right, Justin, this has been awesome. I so very much appreciate your time. How can people reach out to you? Go ahead, plug yourself. Tell us how we can get in touch
Yeah,
with you.
so social media, Justin Gauthreaux. Phone number is 337-541-0038. Email is soldjustintime10@gmail.com.
Awesome, Justin. By the way, when I sent you an email the other day, I loved your email. I loved that your name was incorporated. Super, super catchy. Awesome, Justin. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us. Everyone, thank you for being with us on the Financial Game Plan with Hannah. I look forward to hosting many, many more episodes. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. We would love to see a 5-star review. That would just make my Southern heart very happy. Everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye bye.